Hey guys, welcome back to another match preview. Oh, I'm like echoing really badly here. I hope that it comes off across okay. Otherwise, I might need to just like change rooms or something. But yeah, sorry for being late. I had a work thing and then I was working on the thumbnail and I couldn't get it to look good. And it's just how I just left it how it is. And you guys know me, so you know I'm sorry for the thumbnail. But I promise you, thumbnail does not show. It's not representative of the quality content that we're going to bring you guys here. So I'm joined by Rodrigo. He was on a preview last week for the reverse fixture, and it just went really well. So we're like, let's do this again for the second leg. So Rodrigo, thanks so much for joining me. And how are you doing?
For sure. I'm so happy to be here. I'm pretty good. Honestly, like just thinking about the game, the nerves are definitely starting to creep up. Like every day I'm like, oh God, we're getting closer. And yeah.
I know it's been happening to me, and I just like see people on the street and I'm like, oh my God, they don't know I'm a Chelsea fan.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I can only imagine what it's like for you living in Madrid, having to see all of this.
I joke like, oh, I'm gonna have to move if Chelsea don't win this game because it's just gonna be too much. But no, there's a lot to talk about. It was a really interesting first leg, and the second leg I feel like is going to be really different. So I want to get into all of that. So first, what were your overall thoughts on the first leg?
So to begin with, I think like huge merit to Chelsea with how they went out that game. I think they impressed even Chelsea fans themselves. Yeah. All right, like let me know in the comments. I don't know, but I was super impressed at the intensity that they came out in that game. And also equally, like I was really impressed at Madrid's failure to cope with it. I think a large part of that was due to Zidane's tactics. I think and I mean, I can't really attack him for that because it's tactics that I was talking about too. I said we'd probably be better off by matching y'all's formation, going with 5 in the back as well, and trying to beat y'all at your own game. And it clearly showed that y'all are the superior team in terms of playing with 5 in the back because we could not do it. One thing that I talked about in the pregame analysis that I released last night on my channel is the fact that with that 5 in the back formation for Madrid, they were really struggling to break out of the back. So Chelsea would be pressing them super hard, and in the moment Madrid would be able to win the ball, it would be either Modric, Cruz had the ball, and they would look up, and it was just Benzema by himself up there because Vinicius Jr. kept on dropping super deep to receive the ball or to help out with defending. And so what was happening is Madrid was getting suffocated with Chelsea's pressure, and so they couldn't break out. So the moment we got the ball, Chelsea was on us right away. We had no options. We lose the ball, and there comes Chelsea again. And then we kept on making the mistake of we're used to playing pretty high up the field. We're not used to defending like close to our box, kind of like how Chelsea showed us that they could. And so whenever we would lose the ball, our transition to defense was so bad. It was super slow. Casemiro, Modric, Toni Kroos, all of them like just jogging back. And so then Pulisic, Mason Mount, all of them had literally a free run into like our defenders. And it was a nightmare. Those 30 minutes were a true nightmare for us.
Yeah, I think what you'll find most Chelsea fans felt after that game was, it was tied 1-1, but I think a lot of us almost felt bittersweet because if you told us, at least if you told me before the match, oh, you're going to draw 1-1 with Real Madrid, you're going to get that away goal, a lot of us would have been really happy with that, myself included. But then I think the way that Chelsea played in that game, I felt that we were the better team for the large majority of the game. So I think that it was almost unfortunate that we didn't get a second goal and really make it even more difficult for Madrid. And I think that could potentially be something that could come to bite us in the butt, so to speak.
That's what I was thinking too, because I mean, I've been in the situations too where like, my team, like Real Madrid, will do really good in a certain game, but you get that feeling that you didn't score that extra goal that could really, really assort that dominance that you had in those at least 30 minutes or whatever. And And then you go into the second leg with like a certain fear that it's like, man, like we could have done better. And now like they're in our home stadium and now they're going to come at us. And so I think like Madrid fans are getting that reverse feeling where it's like we came out of that first game, quote unquote, alive. And now we're like coming for y'all type of thing. Like I feel like that's what I feel. And that's what like the majority of the people like in my channel have the feeling of like y'all didn't kill us. And y'all are gonna suffer. We're not killing us, type of thing. So that's why I think it's gonna be such a good game this second leg, with a Madrid that's gonna come out there with completely different tactics.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because, like, I don't think Chelsea fans feel this way, but I think rival fans in the Premier League say, oh, Chelsea are going to, like, knock Real Madrid out and whatever. It's going to be super easy. They didn't play well. And all Chelsea fans are like, no, like, this is not true. This is not the case. Like, it's going to be a really, really, really tight game. And, it's Real Madrid. It's no small team at all. And I definitely feel that that missing a couple of chances could definitely come to bite us in the butt. It was really, really frustrating to see those misses, but it's something that I highlighted in the preview. I said Chelsea haven't been converting a lot of chances, only been scoring like one goal. And I think like the real difference between these two teams right now is that Chelsea need a lot of chances in order to convert into goals. You get a ton of chances, but then maybe you get a goal, maybe two, if you're lucky. But Real Madrid really didn't need any chances. They had one moment of brilliance from Karim Benzema that came really out of nowhere. Chelsea did terribly to defend that set piece, but it was just a moment of brilliance. And there you go, you're already level. So if that happens again.
And there was also that post that Benzema hit off that shot that came out of nowhere. Like, if that goes in, like, I'm sure all Chelsea fans would have been like, what the hell? What the hell is going on? Like, we're doing all this work, and then Madrid comes back and attacks, shoots ones, and they score it. And just
exactly.
Like, what the hell?
So I think that that's like something to watch out for, and hopefully, like from a Chelsea perspective, I think that Tuchel's going to be very aware of Benzema and hopefully try to like mark him out of the game. But he's just such a good player; like he's probably going to find ways around it. So looking into this second leg, Chelsea have scored the away goal, so we know if it stays 0-0, Chelsea go through to the final. So Madrid know that they have to score. They must score at least one goal. So what do you think the game plan is for this?
So in the video that I posted yesterday, I kind of talked about like the 5 keys. And so that kind of goes into like what I think the game plan should be, which should be a Madrid. Like one of the main keys that I said was for Madrid to have absolutely zero fear of conceding a goal. Because if you think about it, like if we, in my opinion, we need to go out there to the game kind of like how y'all did in our stadium, where y'all went out there with like a crap ton of intensity, high pressing, and just literally taking shots, like doing everything you can to get that goal. Because if we're able to get the early goal, like picture like a game in which we score in the first 20 minutes, then we have a whole 70 minutes ahead of us where getting that second goal would just about be killer for Chelsea, because in that sense y'all would have to score 3 on us. And so additionally with that, I was saying like Madrid should have like zero fear of conceding a goal, because think about it, like you're pressing really high, you're pressing really hard, you're getting close to getting a goal, and then Chelsea counters you and scores a goal on you. In that sense, yeah, it sucks because obviously Chelsea just scored. But if you really look at the grand scheme of things, it doesn't change much, because you still have to get that one goal, and it's now tied 1-1. So that's what I'm saying. Like Madrid should really have no fear of like conceding. Obviously, you can't concede 3 goals because that would be just horrible. But that's I think I want to go out on this limb, and I want to say that the team that scores first in this game will probably be the one to go through. If Chelsea gets a goal, then yeah.
Yeah, so because if Madrid get a goal, then it's going to be even more difficult for Chelsea to score, because I think they're probably going to sit back and absorb the pressure, and then they could just have a second goal come out of nowhere. I honestly feel like if Chelsea score, Madrid are just such a great team that you could totally get one back as well. But it's really going to be important to see. And I think the thing for Chelsea fans that at least I want to see, like I want to see us trying to go for a goal, because the later in the game it gets, the worse it is, right? Because if you get to like the 70-minute mark, it's still 0-0, and then all of a sudden you concede a late goal to Real Madrid, so like then they go through, and you don't have as much time to try to score. Yeah. So I think that it's going to be really interesting. It's definitely going to be like a cagey game, a nervy game.
Oh, but yeah.
How do you think Madrid's tactics are going to differ? Because you mentioned like playing in the back five against Chelsea didn't really work. Do you think that they're probably going to play in a back four now that Mendy is back? Sergio Ramos is also back as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so that's definitely like a huge talking point. So I do think Madrid's going to go back to the 4-3-3. As I'm sure you've heard, Varane got injured this weekend for us. Yeah. So that's a big loss for us, because personally, like, had Varane not gotten injured, I don't know if I would have started Sergio Ramos for this game, just because Sergio Ramos has only played 3 games this whole 2021 like calendar year. So like when you think about that, he's not coming in like game fit. And one thing like I did think to counteract that is the fact that, well, for a defender position, sometimes it doesn't necessarily matter as much to not be as game fit, because you're not running all over the place, right? You don't need to be super like fit, I guess. But with that being said, you're also having to deal with players that are super fast, like, Timo Werner, Pulisic, Havertz, and whatnot. All of y'all's attackers are incredibly fast. So that could be some place where they could catch Ramos like off guard. However, with that being said, like Ramos's hierarchy, like his experience, the leadership he brings to the team is like no one else can bring that. Absolutely no one else. So in that sense, we are definitely winning something by having him on the field. And then, as you already mentioned, like having Mendy back there will be a completely different story than having Marcelo, because he got so exposed in that game. And I told you about it. I was like, I'm very scared of like having Marcelo out there, because he has not played well in who knows how long. I did say that normally in like the 5 in the back formation, he's protected a little more by having those 3 center backs, but Jesus Christ, it looked like Marcelo was just non-existent. That poor guy.
Oh my God. I thought he was actually like attacking wise, I thought he was all right. Like maybe not the Marcelo of like 1 year. I thought that he was actually giving Azpilicueta a run for his money, and that's why Aspi got taken off around the 60th minute mark. But yeah, I think that it's going to be interesting. I think you guys will probably play Mendy, and from a Chelsea perspective, it's going to be interesting to see who plays in that right wing back role, because we have Reece James, who's very young, who's very fast. He is more attacking minded. But then we also have Azpilicueta, who is like our captain. He has a lot of experience as well. It's a Champions League semifinal. And basically the thought about starting Azpilicueta on the right wing back role, usually he plays as a right center back in this Tuchel system. But the thought about it is that he's kind of short for a center back. So it gives you a little bit more height to defend against Real Madrid, who does really well on set pieces. Yeah. So that's kind of the thought. But could he potentially get outrun by Mendy? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see like who plays in that role, but I think that's something that Chelsea definitely need to be careful about.
Right.
You see Eden Hazard starting this match?
So that's exactly what I was going to bring up, because I know that's something we talked about in the last live stream, and I explained how there was no way that I could see Hazard starting that first leg, but this one I think he is going to start, and I feel pretty confident about
What?
Yeah, his performance this weekend, like this weekend was the first game that he like actually started ever since. So it's been like a long time, and I thought his game was above average. I'm not gonna say he played an amazing game, because in my opinion he didn't. He still lacks chemistry with the players. You could tell he would get the ball and he would do like the flicks that we're like used to like Hazard doing, right? That bring like a spark to his game. He would do those things. But at the same time, there were times where like him and Benzema would do like a give and go, and then Hazard would kind of stop and be like, "Okay, so what now?" Because and that's when you can tell that he's lacking that chemistry with like with the whole team. So that could be a potential aspect where having Hazard on like starting may not be the greatest thing. But whenever you compare with our other options, which are right now Vinicius Jr., I think Hazard just needs to start, because yes, Vinicius Jr. had got that huge hype after, those 2 goals he scored against Liverpool. But if we're being honest, like ever since he's gone back, he's reverted back to like his old form, which is like what basically all Madrid fans are used to this season, which is him like, doing good, like taking on a few players here and there. But then after that, like not creating, not taking the shots, missing passes. And so at times like that just goes very stale. And against a team like Chelsea, who is definitely, I expect Chelsea to be more defensive this game. Vinicius Jr. struggles a lot with that because he's not going to have a lot of space. So that's where an Eden Hazard could find passes, like take people on. So I expect Hazard to start.
I actually thought Vinicius did like okay, maybe not like fantastic, but I did think he was causing the back line some problems. But perhaps that's just me being like, oh my God, so they're going to score. They're going to score. Oh my God. Like,
I also feel like as fans, like whenever you're watching, like for me, for example, like I thought Pulisic was all over the place. I thought Timo Werner was scary too. Like I think just whenever you're in the nerves of it, and like a player's like from the other team is coming in, you're like, no, they're amazing. They're amazing. Like I give up.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. So, but on the other hand, the other team, like the other like the fans from their team are like, oh no, my attacker sucks. My attacker, he can't do anything. He can't do anything.
Exactly. So Ayush says, I say Madrid have the slight advantage. It sounds stupid, but Madrid can afford to concede a goal first, whereas Chelsea have to push forward if they go down 1-0.
And it's very true, I think. Like I think another thing is if Madrid is able to get that early goal, and like he said, Chelsea's forced to come out because they literally need the goal to go through. It might help also Madrid in finding those spaces. So in a scenario that Madrid goes into the second half with a lead, forcing Chelsea to come out, and then you take Hazard out, you bring in Vinicius Jr., and now he has spaces to run onto. That's where I think Madrid could be really, really dangerous too. Like I said, it's going to come down to a big part of who scores that first goal that I think is going to dictate like how the rest of the game.
It's going to dictate the game. And perhaps we see both teams a little bit nervous to even take control of the game. I felt like the first half was so open, and then the second half was much more controlled, and it was like a game of chess, and it was a little bit slower, and you didn't really know who is going to go, and they were trying to unlock each other. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see which team kind of comes on the forefront first and what the instructions will be from both managers, because we know that Chelsea are probably going to be going for a goal, but they also don't want to concede first, and it's just like making that balance. So
it's going to be an interesting balance to have to deal with.
I'm too nervous already. I can't do it.
I know, right? Just talking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh. No, literally, the day of the game, I was at school and I was having to study for like some test. And I kid you not, like 2 hours before the game, I would look at all my notes and I was like, I'm not processing a single thing. Like the nerves are just too much.
Not at all. Oh my God, there's like a really loud motorcycle. Hopefully you guys can't hear that.
I can really hear it.
Yeah, that's okay. Fuck. So Lewis asks, what's Madrid's best back line?
So okay. I guess I can give 2 answers. One of them like being considering all the defenders at their best part of the season, that would probably be like Mendy, Ramos, Varane, and Carvajal. I could arguably say Lucas Vázquez had a much better season than Carvajal because Carvajal really missed out on a lot of games. He only played 15 games this season, where Lucas Vázquez played 30, 40, I don't know, until his injury. But the best back line that we can have for this game is probably just going to be Mendy, Ramos, Militao, and that's a talking point. The right back position, I really don't know who Zidane's going to give it to. It could go. There's 3 options. There's really 3 options. The most direct option would be to have Odriozola at the right back position, but personally, Odriozola is a player that I don't trust very much. He's cost us a lot of goals, like in previous seasons. A player that has barely played this season until like Lucas Vázquez got hurt and Carvajal was still hurt. That's when he started playing. He scored a goal a couple weeks ago, and ever since I do feel like his confidence went up. But at the same time, it's a player that in these big games, he has very little experience. The pressure can easily get to him, and he can have a stupid mess up. Attributes for him are like he's a fast player, and offensively he can have good passes every now and then, but he's not the strongest player. So that's like one negative for him. On the other side, another option that we have is to play Nacho at the right back position. Nacho has played there before. He plays often like left back for us, and he's right-footed, so right back suits him like perfectly. However, the issue I have with Nacho out there is that he's like 33, 34. You know, he's already like in his 30s, and coming up against players like Pulisic, Havertz, and all those that we know are super fast, he could get exposed. So that's one negative, but at the same time, his defensive attributes are super, super good. Offensively, he's not that great, but there's pros and cons to everything. And then the last option that we have is to play Valverde, who just tested negative, and he's officially like in the squad list for the game to play.
It's interesting because I would think even if you test negative, perhaps like the effects that it had on your body could be like so much that you're not match fit, especially for a semifinal. Probably not worth risking it. But what do you think?
That's exactly what I was thinking too. I mean, I know people that have tested positive for COVID, both like in real life or also like players, and like afterwards they come back and like if they go back to the gym, they're like, yeah, I'm not at the same level that I was before. Yeah. Players that struggle playing after like having tested positive, for sure, like has happened. So I definitely could see like Valverde just not being also game fit, even though he hasn't been injured. I hope he's been practicing on his own, running. I don't know. Hopefully he was asymptomatic. So with that sense, I guess that's going to come down to Zidane, and he knows like the players best in terms of like how they're feeling for this game to who he's going to line up. Personally, when Valverde played right back for us against Liverpool in the second leg, his first 15, 20 minutes were not good, in my opinion. He was getting exposed by Salah, by Mane, until finally he started getting a hang of the position, and then he started doing a lot better. So
it's a toss-up, much like Chelsea's entire starting 11, because I can never predict who's going to be starting. So we have an interesting question from Ranjiv. I'm kind of just going all over the place here, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I don't have like a real structure for this stream, so if you have questions, just ask them. I'll try to get to them as I see them if they fit in. If we haven't talked about it already. So he says, ask him if Madrid don't win La Liga or the Champions League, what would be the effects on the players in Zidane? Like, would they feel it personally? And you think that I'm going to add something. Do you think that there's more of a pressure to win the Champions League this season, given that La Liga, you're not like dominating as you might have in past years?
There's been an interesting turn of events in La Liga because Atletico Madrid recently lost the game, and then Barca lost the game too. So now Madrid is very much in the run for La Liga once again. They're actually second place right now, tied in points with Barca, and then Atletico is only 2 points ahead of them. But Madrid has the tiebreaker with both of them, as they beat both this season. So if they were to tie,
you go off tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. In the Premier League, you go off of goal difference.
Goal difference, yeah. In La Liga, it's like the direct matchup between the two. And then if you tied both games, or one team won one and then the other team won the other by the same score, then you go to the goal difference.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's not the case right now. So, and then like to further on add to that, Atletico and Barca play against each other this weekend.
Okay.
So one of them is going to drop points. If it's a tie, then it benefits Madrid even better. So with that being said, Madrid plays against Sevilla, who's also fourth place and is very, very good. So Madrid's chances for La Liga are very much alive. However, Madrid's last 4 games in La Liga are very tough ones. But with that being said, going back to your initial question of like the pressure on the Champions League, I don't think Madrid has much pressure with the Champions League right now. One, because it's not like they haven't won the Champions League in a long time, and like their fans are just like, come on, like it's been so long, like we need to win Champions League. Like they don't have that pressure. And additionally, I don't think they even expected to be in this position to begin with. Yeah. So they're just they're going into this game saying, you know what, we are going into the second leg. We're going into the second leg of the Champions League, still very much alive with like a 1-1 draw in the first leg. 1 win away, 1 tie away from going to the final of the Champions League. We have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So in that perspective, I think Madrid's doesn't really have that much pressure. However, there's very much a possibility, and I think the odds of them not winning a single title are actually relatively high. So it kind of sucks for Madrid because we can be on the brink of winning 2 titles, like the 2 biggest titles that there is, or just absolutely nothing, which could easily happen. And like I've honestly like mentally prepared for that to happen, because if I look at like La Liga, then in like the schedules, like Barca honestly has like the easier of the game, so they could easily come out on top. It could go either way. It could go either way.
Interesting. Yeah, Chelsea's in a similar position because I feel like, especially with the change of manager mid-season, we were in 10th in the league, and at that point. So for me, this was not even on my radar. I was like, maybe to get past the round of 16, because historically Chelsea haven't been doing well in the Champions League in the past couple of years. And I think like to make it to a semifinal and to have performed so well against these teams, it just speaks a lot about the team as well. And like, obviously I want us to win and to go to the final, but like, it's still a really good accomplishment to get to the semifinal as well.
100%. And I'm actually super happy. Yeah. Like, and I will like say the same for Madrid. Like, I'm super happy with the fact that they were able to make it to the semifinals already of the Champions League, because that exceeds whatever expectations I had of them for this season.
Really?
Yeah.
I always think you guys like Golden Pass, they're definitely going to make it at least to the semis. Like,
previous years that was expected of us. Like literally, if Madrid didn't make the semifinals, and we were already saying like, oh well, this was a bad season. But ever since Ronaldo left, like things have really, really changed. I mean, we've gotten eliminated in the round of 16 of the Champions League 2 years in a row before this, to Man City and then to Ajax. So we had been going through a really, really dry spell in the Champions League. And it also brings back little ghosts of before. I don't know if you remember when Mourinho started coaching, being like our manager. Before that, we went like a whole 8 seasons where we were like, there was, I don't know if it was specifically 8, but it was a lot of seasons where Madrid would get eliminated in the first round of the elimination round for the Champions League. So Madrid fans are kind of like, they have some kind of PTSD with the Champions League when we start to get in bad runs. So once we got out of that round this season, we were like, oh man, like we broke the curse, like we're going through.
Oh my God. Meanwhile, there's an entire thread on Twitter that's like comparing Chelsea's 2012 win to the 2021 season. And there's like so many coincidences. It's just like insane. Like the funniest one for me was like, they said the guy who refereed the semifinal was born on November 23rd, and this referee is born on November 23rd. It's like, what the heck? Like, you're definitely not making this up, but this is just too weird, you know?
That's really weird. And also, like, Chelsea had, like, they changed managers that year, I remember.
Yeah.
It was like Di Matteo that won it for y'all, and it was just like, what the hell is going on? Yeah.
There's like so many on Twitter. It's really, really funny thread.
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
And like that year, Chelsea went up against Bayern Munich, who Bayern Munich was the big dog. Like they were like Chelsea went into that final as the underdogs, and then they ended up winning it. And in this sense, if Chelsea were to go into the final, they would go in as the underdogs against either PSG or City. So
it's going to be interesting to see who wins that game, because I was totally banking on PSG to do it, but City had the upper hand, and PSG looked like they were collapsing in
that was crazy. PSG has definitely got to be like pissed at themselves for how they let that game go.
Yeah, it was insane. But all right, I wanna bring it back to Chelsea Real Madrid, because that's what we're here for. We have a couple. I'm like kind of far behind on the question. Sorry, guys. This is a fun one from Roman. He says, "Would you rather Pulisic or Hazard?"
Right now, Pulisic. It's gotta be. I mean, based on form, I mean, Pulisic just scored against us. Pulisic, and even though, like, I mean, I know you were saying how his season has been like a little bit of ups and downs, but even then, like when I saw him dribble, and granted, I don't watch Chelsea like week in, week out, but I watched part of their Fulham game this weekend, and then I watched obviously the game against us. Whenever Pulisic got the ball, he has the explosion. He would take people on. He had composure when he had to dribble past Courtois and then score. He had mobility off the ball. All things that Hazard does not have right now. Hazard, honestly, like if you were to ask me what are Hazard's attributes right now, like say I had never seen Hazard play before, like with Chelsea, and he was just a player that Madrid signed, I would be like, I mean, this guy can dribble a little bit, but he cannot actually dribble past people. He doesn't have explosion. He doesn't have off the ball movement. He's got like a good touch on the ball, but that's about it. That's what I would say about Hazard right now. Right now, obviously, prime Hazard is much better than Pulisic, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Pulisic is still really young as well, I think, and and he's just like, he's coming into like a really great spell. We saw him really take off last season after Project Restart. He had like 5 goals and 5 assists in 10 games or something like that. But I think that he's going to be super, super important for the Chelsea side. A lot of Chelsea fans will tell you they would perfectly take Hazard back in a heartbeat, you know, depending on it. But we just hold such a special place in our hearts for him. Tara says, being a Real Madrid fan, Mount is definitely a bigger threat than Conte or Pulisic. What do you think about that?
Oof. I thought Conte was so good.
He was man of the match in that match, to be fair.
It was, yeah, I think we both agreed on that he was both of our man of the match when we were talking about the game right after it ended. Yeah. He definitely won. Like in my live stream, in the live reaction to the Chelsea game, we were talking about the Casemiro versus Conte like matchup, and and in the live reaction, I'm like, oh yeah, there's no way Casemiro loses this one. But no, Conte took that 100%. His ability to get in between lines and then drive with the ball, but also he's a box-to-box midfielder. He can be everywhere. He was so fast everywhere. He was a nightmare for the Madrid midfield. With that being said, obviously we already talked about Pulisic, and then Mason Mount. Okay, personally, I know you love the guy. I know he's one of your favorites. Personally, I didn't think he had the greatest of games against Madrid. There was often like many times, like even during like the first half when Chelsea was doing so good, I was like, I feel like I haven't seen much of like Mason Mount. However, I do think he's the player that's pulling strings from like behind the scenes. Like he's not necessarily giving you the highlights with like the shots or like the final pass, but he was the one transitioning the ball and to get it to Pulisic and Timo Werner. So I think that's why I didn't see him necessarily as much, and he probably still had a good game. But I know he's obviously a very, very good player.
In the Fulham game, I don't know if you saw, but he had like a ridiculous touch for Kai Havertz. I think it was the first goal, that it was just like the way that he brought it under control and then like found the pass and read it perfectly. I think like I don't know who our biggest threat is. I think it also depends on like the game plan as well, because if you're going to defend, then obviously you want Conte to have an amazing game. If you're looking to counter, then you want Pulisic. If you're looking to just attack, maybe Mount is generally more informed. But I mean, Chelsea have a lot of really good players. That kind of brings me to my next question, like I think who impressed you the most? I was going to ask who impressed you the most, but you kind of answered that, probably Conte. Don't want to put words in your mouth. And so who are you most scared of facing again in this second leg?
There's something, and this is a little random, but there is something about sorry, I was just joining my other lecture that is about to start.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. I'm in the middle of class right now. It's all right. There's hey, priorities, right?
Yeah, priority. This is
the Champions League. No, nothing has a greater priority than the Champions League.
Oh my god, I'm on it.
There's something about Rudiger that terrifies me. And I know, like I said, this is really random because we've been talking about all the other players that I know are like extremely good, but Rudiger, for some reason, oh my god, in that game, like the first leg, I would see our team like moving up, and I would just look up, and it would be Benzema next to 3 towers with like Rudiger commanding it, Thiago Silva, and then Christensen. And I was just like, my God, like Rudiger is gonna win every single ball that like we put up there. So Rudiger is a player that I'm just kind of like, oh gosh, if he has a good game, like I don't know how we're gonna get past him.
Yeah, well, he might not play. We're not 100%. I haven't watched Thomas Tuchel's press conference, guys. I was working, so if you know if he spoke about Rudiger, let me know in the comments. The latest news I know is that he might play. I think he broke his nose or something, and he's going to wear a mask. Yeah. So I think that it's looking likely that he's starting, but I still have to listen to Thomas Tuchel's press conference. So guys, if you listen to it and you know news about Rudiger, let me know. I think it's likely that he's going to be starting, but with the mask, but TBD. Oh, Ranjiv goes confirm with the mask. Okay, yeah. I was joking on a stream yesterday that like a ton of Chelsea players like always wear the mask. Like we have so many that end up wearing
really do.
Nobody does. Nobody else does.
If it's not the mask, then it's Czech's helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, or Jorginho's like head bandage. That was also like iconic. Yeah, Kovacic still out. Really unfortunate. I think that's a big loss. that's been a big loss for us, especially like even if you're going to start Conte and Jorginho and you say, oh, I want to start them in the Champions League, in the league games, which are still really important, and Chelsea are like right now sitting in that 4th spot, but it is so close that you want to rest these players as well, and we're seeing that like they're not really getting that much rest. They were both rested against Fulham. Conte came on for like 30 minutes or so. Devin says Conte will handle it, no worries. So,
we have Modric and Toni Kroos rested for a whole week. Last time they played was against y'all. So like everyone rested all their guns.
They've all been resting for this game. So guys, I have a question for you guys in the comments. Let me know which front three you want to see against Real Madrid. You know, we have Havertz, Mount, Pulisic, Ziyech, Timo Werner. I don't think we're really going to see the likes of Tammy Abraham or Giroud really in this game starting, but let me know which front three you want to have, because I've seen a ton of debate about this and I'm really curious to know what you guys are leaning towards. For me personally, Mason Mount has to start the game. You know, I think he's just it's hard to see his value when you don't watch him week in and week out, but he's just like a really important player for Chelsea. He intercepts the ball, he starts the press, he's all over the pitch, he gets into really difficult positions, which makes him difficult to track as well. And I think that he's starting to show more ball control. His passes have gotten better. His output in the final third has gotten better as well. So Mount definitely. Oh, thanks, Raphael. Oh, I switched. Thank you. Mount, Pulisic, Havertz. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot.
I think Pulisic will start after his first game, or like the first leg. Havertz. Yeah, I feel like Timo Werner might not start, especially because even Tuchel was attacking him like in one of the press conferences I heard. I was like, damn.
There's like this one game that Timo was playing on I don't remember. He was like on the left and Thomas Tuchel was like, Timo, I told you to play on the right. You haven't been there for 15 minutes. It was so funny. But yeah, so I think for me personally, Mount and Pulisic are given starters, especially because Pulisic was rested against Fulham. He wasn't played, so I think he's definitely starting. And he was just so important in that game, got the goal. You reward a player for that, and he's been performing in these big games. So then for me, the last spot is really between Havertz and Werner. And who do you play? Because I feel like for me, he's been playing Timo Werner more often than he's been playing Kai Havertz. If you play Timo Werner, he has a lot of pace. We know Madrid are probably going to try to come at us. So if they leave space to counter, he can take advantage of that. But the contrary to that, or like the worst,
he's gonna miss one chance.
Is that he is low on confidence, and you said something and I missed it. What did you say?
I said, and he's gonna miss at least one chance.
Oh my god. Yeah, but honestly, like that's if he has been needing a lot of chances, and if he misses them, it could really cost Chelsea. And you really need somebody to be clinical. So while he's been creating, he's been getting assists, he's been winning penalties, he's been getting into good areas. He gives you something else to think about, thinking, oh, maybe I can't push too far up because I know Timo can counter with the pace. But is he going to take his chances and be clinical in this game? Or you have Kai Havertz, who hasn't been playing as much, but he scored 2 at the weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
He is a really good player as well. He links up with Pulisic. He gets into those spaces, and he's been a little bit more clinical than Timo Werner has. Timo Werner still first player for Chelsea in their first season to hit double-digit goal and assist since Eden Hazard. So it's not like it's been a terrible season for him.
Sure.
I think we just expected way, way more of him.
Right. After his seasons with Leipzig, I'm pretty sure I expect a 20-goal season, a 20 goal.
Exactly. You expect 20 and you're getting 10, and you're like, what's happening here? I thought that you would be banging in all of these goals. So that's kind of my conundrum. I think I'm leaning towards Havertz, but I would understand why Werner would be on the pitch as well. So as I'm going to switch the question, Rodrigo, as a fan of Real Madrid, who would you rather play against? Havertz?
I have this, like, I keep joking about Werner, but I have this like slight fear that he's gonna score.
He's gonna make. He's
There's something about it that I'm like,
scream, Rodrigo, I'm coming for you.
I'm trying to reverse jinx it right now. I don't know, like something about it is just like everyone's been talking crap about Timo Werner, and then the game that he finally scores is going to be when it most matters or something like that. But I guess that's similar to the fear that you have of Hazard scoring on y'all or getting an assist. Or
I
something.
would, if Hazard scores, I would cry. Like, I'm not even exaggerating when I said that. I know he's a Real Madrid player, but I don't care. I don't care. I would cry because he's a Chelsea legend, and to score against Chelsea in a massive game. No, Hazard, I'm sorry. You have to have a bad game. I'm going to be hoping that he does not play well. And I'm sorry because I love the guy to death, but I cannot see him perform against Chelsea. Like, I cannot.
I was listening to this guy that was talking about, I don't know if you remember, but Anelka, the player that played for Chelsea. Yeah, he played at Madrid. I think it was 1 or 2 seasons, and he did really bad at Madrid, but everyone remembers him because he scored a goal in the semifinals that got Madrid to the final of the Champions League. So, like, that's why they were like, Hazard could pull in an Elka and just not do anything for us, but maybe gets a goal and gets to the final of the Champions League and then forgets about it again.
Ozzy says, if we go to pens, can Hazard somehow take for us? Yeah, that's basically how I'm feeling right now.
That's what it feels like he's been doing for the past 2 years, still playing for you.
So keep it up, Hazard. You have been doing very good. You just have
to
keep it up. Keep up that form.
He's really like the black horse this whole time. He's just been feeding y'all information about us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Neil, Chelsea fans do love Eden Hazard. I have his jersey. And how can you not love Eden Hazard as a Chelsea fan? He's an icon. He scored. Yeah, look, even as a Real Madrid fan, like, he is just iconic. He scored so many goals. Probably the best player in the Premier League while he was there. Like arguably, but up there at least. Maybe De Bruyne is between those the 2 Belgium stars, but I don't know. We just love him. We can't not love him. Everybody has a love affair with Eden Hazard. It's just the thing.
So I have a quick question. So, like, I know you've been asking me like how I think Madrid should come out to this game, but I want to ask you, like, how do you think Chelsea should approach this game?
Yeah, that's a great question, and
I have no idea.
I really, it's hard because I think that Chelsea's defense has been really good this season, or not this season, since Thomas Tuchel has taken over, kept a lot of clean sheets. I think it's something ridiculous, like 17 and 21 or 22 or something like that, like a lot of clean sheets. So I do trust the defense, but I just feel like a game as big as this, you have to go out and try to get a goal as well. So it's going to really be like this, trying to strike a balance and a harmony between defending, but also trying to attack and get a goal. I could honestly see Madrid having the majority of the ball to start to try to get Chelsea, and maybe Chelsea say, okay, try to tire yourselves out and get a goal, and then we can counter. But guys, let me know in the comments what you think Chelsea's going to do, because I could really see it going either way. Like, maybe they just go out and try to attack Madrid and get a goal, and they say, oh, we can defend perfectly. So
I feel like Madrid's tactic will be to give Chelsea the ball.
Yeah, Tuchel said in the press conference he's going for the win and doesn't care about the first leg result. Yeah, I think that if you get a goal, then you win the game. If you can win this game, then you win the game. Essentially, well, essentially. So,
go ahead.
No, I'm just reading through these comments. Reggie says, attack first half, defend for a live second half. Yeah, that probably sounds about right.
Yeah, and like I said, like, I'm sure the tactics are going to change a lot depending on how the game is going. I think maybe Chelsea's tactics will be to adapt to Madrid's tactics. So I'm sure Tuchel is giving them different scenarios. So like I'm pretty sure you can expect, like, us and Tuchel can expect Madrid to come out there pretty strong. So I think he will have them ready for that in terms of like how to defend for that, and then how to approach a game in which they score first, or a game in which it's still tied 0-0. Like, I'm sure he's keeping all different types of possibilities for them to how to approach each scenario. Yeah, I know a lot of these managers always do reverse psychology in these press conferences. So I'm always looking out for that. They're always throwing little things, but really like they're going to go another
I
way
never
out.
know what to believe, honestly.
That's what they are. Yeah, 100%. But
So-
what I wanted to say was Madrid normally struggles a lot whenever they have the ball and they allow the other team to just sit back and defend like as a unit. So that's what I was saying. Like I think Madrid's going to try to give Chelsea the ball as much as they can, so that way they can press them and force a mistake from Chelsea, and then just score right off winning the ball from them in like their own third.
Fire up the pitch.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know, guys. I can't even think about it because my heart is just racing so much. Nathan asks, does Real have the legs and intensity to match Chelsea? Which is really interesting because I think you could almost argue going into the first leg, many people thought that it would be the other way around and Chelsea really, really impressed.
Yeah, I don't know if Madrid has the legs to match Chelsea's intensity. I'm not gonna lie. The midfield is tired. The midfield is really tired. I don't know. I personally feel like they won't, but they're still going to give it their all. I don't know. But also at the same time, the motivation of the game can bring a newfound like second breath. Yeah.
Yeah. This is an interesting question from Ayush. He says, Elizabeth, who would you face in the final if you were to make it past us? You won't, but just curious. So I'll kind of ask you, who would you prefer to face? Man City or PSG?
Is this question for me first?
Yeah, go for it.
So initially, like at the beginning of the season in the Champions League, I said Man City was going to win the Champions League. In my opinion, they're like the best team in Europe, especially because of their squad depth. However, after watching their first leg against PSG, I felt like PSG outplayed them. And the second half, while obviously Man City played a little better than PSG, we saw how much City struggled to score and create chances. Like really, like their two goals were, you could argue like they were kind of like flukes. Like I mean, Navas kind of messed up, and it was really just a cross that De Bruyne was trying to put in. And then the second goal, the free kick, like the wall just opens up. So both goals that were a little bit lucky. So that's what I was saying. Like, and other than that, like City really struggled to create chances, even when they were a man up against PSG. So for me, like if Madrid were to go through, I think I'd be kind of terrified to face up against Neymar and Mbappe, like coming at you, just because of their speed. But
yeah, I do feel like that PSG have like been very open in the games that they have played. Like they're really good in the attacking sense, but I was expecting them to be better defensively than they have been. But like you said, like the two goals from City, kind of fluke goals. Chelsea did beat City in the FA Cup semi-final, you guys. So be scared about that as well. Stray said Tuchel hinted on playing false nine as well to counter Ramos playing as well. That could mean that Havertz is starting. We don't. Maybe he's just saying that so that Madrid's prepared to face Havertz, and then he ends up playing Werner. I really have no idea.
It's all mind games.
Yeah, it's all mind games. Like I really don't know.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Ramos is back. Yeah, let's see whose shoulder he breaks this time.
John says Chelsea will win the game. Intensity will be key, and Chelsea has players who can run for 90 minutes, which could also be a good point.
We'll see. Then again, their midfield they haven't had that much. I mean, I know Conte got to rest a little bit, but at the same time, they're in the same boat as Madrid, where like the midfield doesn't have that many subs to make. So.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. I think it also depends who scores that first goal, because if Madrid do score, they could easily sit back. And, you know, if you're sitting back and defending, you're not really like running around as much. So I don't know, guys. I'm nervous. I feel like we've covered a lot in this game, in this stream. So Rodrigo, just one last thing. What is the one key thing that you think Real Madrid have to do in order to win this game?
If I had to bring it down to one key, it will be just to have like the first half. They need to go at it with everything. Like that's the key. Get an early goal. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. But I'm gonna say like just like that to have that intensity, match Chelsea's intensity, and not let them run you over like they did the first game. Because that was.
I hope that Chelsea go with a lot of pressure and energy and everything. So finally, what is your score prediction for this match?
So in my pregame, I said that I'm gonna go for a 2-2 draw, where yeah,
So
and I could see it being a little bit hard because that's a pretty high scoring game, and with Chelsea and Madrid, that is not something that you would normally want to predict. But with the circumstances of the game, you never know. Like maybe Madrid gets an early goal, but Chelsea's able to tie it up, and then Chelsea somehow finds a second goal, but Madrid gets the second goal that gets them through in the dying minutes of the game. So like that's how I could see a 2-2 happening. I know that would break your heart.
I know. I could honestly see a 1-0 in which direction. Like, I hope Chelsea. So, as a Chelsea fan, I'm gonna say 1-0 to Chelsea. My head is saying like another 1-1 maybe goes through on penalties or something like that. Yeah. But that's also a possibility. You just never know. But I'm going to try to be positive here and say 1-0 to Chelsea. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this stream. If you like this video, make sure to drop it a like because it helps us out so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Pushing on 5K, which is really exciting and totally a credit to you guys. So I really appreciate it. And definitely check out Rodrigo's channel as well. Rodrigo, let everybody know where they can find you.
So sorry, I was looking at the comments and I totally got distracted. Yeah, guys. So El Merengue Culé, you can just look us up. Obviously, my name should be right on the screen. In our account, we're gonna do the live stream for the Chelsea Madrid game. So if you're a Chelsea fan from Elizabeth's channel, you can of course join us. You can expect a lot of Madrid fans there, so it could get pretty heated. Likewise, today we're gonna be having, for the first time, we're not gonna live stream the PSG City game because I have to go to class after this, actually in person. But expect the live reactions from me and Ricky, my brother, coming out soon. So that's what you can go expect from my account.
Awesome. So guys, make sure to subscribe. It is a really great account. I've put the link in the description below so you have it already. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully we as Chelsea fans have some good news for tomorrow. And yeah, it's going to be a nerve-wracking couple of days, but I think, we'll know tomorrow.
One of us will make it through. The other one
of us will be happy and the other will be crying. But guys, thanks so much for watching. I honestly really appreciate it. I'll be back with a match preview potentially and a review and just trying to bring you what's happening here from Madrid about the game. So yeah, watch out for that. And until next time, I'm out.